Welcome to the second in this series of reflections on finding a new way of living. If you missed the first of the series, it might be helpful at this point to go back and listen to that one first. It's an introduction to the rest of the series, and it will help to clarify what exactly we are aiming to do during the series. Those of you who have and who spent the last month trying to look for the positive in the crisis situation in which we all live are now ready for video or reflection too. In that first one, we came to the realization that we are now at crisis point, and we have to find now, we have to make possible now, an entirely new way of living on this planet with each other. So, out of that conviction, where do we begin? We begin actually not with how I relate with my colleagues or my wife or children, but how I relate with the earth, the place where I live. Planet Earth 1. 1? Is there a 2? Well, perhaps you missed it, but some 2 years ago, our cosmologists had, with the help of the cameras and the space exploration projects, pointed out to us that within actually the 50 astronomical units of our first planetary system, there was a possibility of finding an Earth-like planet. Now, more recently, New Horizons projects, again more photographs and more evidence, are showing us that further away, the possibility of an Earth-like planet is becoming quite real. But here we have to separate fact from fiction. When we talk about an Earth-like planet, we're only talking about a planet where life in some form that we can recognize might exist and develop, or might once have lived. We are really not looking and expecting to find a civilization developed like any of the civilizations on planet Earth 1. You won't find cities like New York or Berlin there, or all the science fiction attempts to say what human life might look like on those planets. We have to drop all that. Now we're into the realm of reality. It has made us look at our own planet again and somewhat differently. I am living on this planet, and whatever the remote possibility of finding another Earth-like planet might be, I am not going to live there. My short lifespan will be here on planet Earth. What the search for new planets, the whole amazing exploration of the whole of this cosmos has done for us, as I said, has made us turn around and say, I don't even know how to relate with the place, the planet on which I live. We have somehow, most of us, got buried into our unconscious the idea that the earth is something separate. We are here, and the earth and the environment is something else. It's a sort of object which we can use or abuse. But we are not in intimate relationship with it. We can control it. This is false thinking. And it's an attitude to our planet which is again bringing us to crisis point. We have discovered that we are part of the great unfolding of this universe. Everything that exists in it, has existed, is existing now, or could exist, has unfolded from one source. We are all in connection with everything else. We are all part of the unfolding. Maybe you see, when we look at the vastness of the universe, that we are a minuscule part. But nevertheless, we are part of the unfolding process. And we cannot be separated out from the unfolding, or if you prefer the word, the creation of planet Earth. Now, when I begin to learn this, it changes my whole attitude. Earth is not just here by accident to provide me with all that I need for life: water, food, clothing, air to breathe. I am part of a process by which Earth develops, and we are inseparably linked. Another key change in our attitude and awareness to our relationship with this planet is that my way of responding, my way of relating with planet Earth and all that lives on it, can either be positive, life-giving in its effect, or it can be destructive, extremely negative. We have always developed the resources of planet Earth. I may have done it even in my small garden. But we are now realizing that the negative effects of the way we have wasted the resources of planet Earth, destroyed them, neglected them, has brought us to a crisis of negativity again. One of the aspects of this, which of course is a hot issue for all the nations of the world, goes under the title of climate change. Now again, we have to be very specific about the issue here. Our climate has always changed, and it's changing now. You know, there are parts of countries on our planet where they have 3 seasons in the year: hot, wet and dry. In the northern hemisphere and other parts of the planet, we have 4 seasons. We go from winter to spring to summer to autumn and back to winter again. And we do not expect, though we sometimes get, I'm afraid, in summer, the temperature that we expect in winter. The climate changes all the time. And we have, in our history of development, the planet has undergone massive changes in climate. Think of the ice ages. So if climate change is such a normal thing, why is there such heated arguments about it at the moment? Because we are facing that our attitude of being separate from the planet being an object, as it were, that we can use, something we have authority over, it's having effects which are repercussing on the very fabric of the planet itself. For example, the melting ice of the North Pole. Now, we can take stands against this and say that would have happened anyway. It has nothing to do with the number of the amount of gas emitted from my car. Again, we can close our eyes to the reality, close our ears to the advice and the warnings. But in this series, we're trying to open up, listen to the warnings, look at the facts, look at the evidence, discover that yes, we are in actual fact taking the responsibility to not only change, but to negatively change our environment. We can see it easily with the destruction of the resources of the earth itself, and with the atmosphere, the climate. We don't see it quite so easily. But we are being warned that we are highly destructive and abusive because we think that this earth is here for our use. We also know that our studies in ecology have taught us a lot about how living things on planet Earth interact or have a relationship, physical, chemical, biological, with the planet, including us, of course. We've learned a great deal about that, but we still have lost the sense of wonder at how magnificent this planet is, and how incredible that all our needs are really met, served by the resources of the planet. Facing the truth that I myself am unfolding from the same source as the planet, the ultimate reality which we have called God by so many different names. One of the issues also is that we assumed that with our high technology we can now predict things like climate change. Now, if you've ever been caught by having listened to a weather forecast in your country and then gone out expecting a fine sunny day only to find yourself being part of thunderstorm or torrential rain or something else, we know how really unpredictable or unpredictable by us the changes, the development of our climate are. It's all part of this idea that we can own it, we can predict it, we are in control. It's something separate to me. It's not going to be easy to relearn this, to redevelop this relationship in truth. But we have to do it, because this is where I live for my short lifespan. It will lead me, if I can learn it, to an understanding that everything in the universe is an expression, a revelation of the great mystery of that source from which it has all come, from which it is continuing to evolve or unfold. Me too. Everything requires great respect, frankly, wonder, awe, that it is so marvelous, so wonderful in design and construction. To begin to relate with planet Earth means beginning to relate with all the resources of planet Earth. Although it is one of the most discussed topics among politicians, and perhaps one that leads to great conflict, climate change, or our effect on the climate, is not the only issue. We are destroying the resources of this planet. We're overfishing the seas, we're destroying the forests, etc., overmining our natural resources. We know all this. Of course, we do have the positive encouragement to recycle. No? I wonder if we're ever willing to accept what has been stated as a fact, that our physical reality is simply a recycling of the first moments of the Big Bang. Some years ago, a theologian was writing a book called Born of Stardust. For many of us, this takes an effort to accept. We're here for a very short space of time. We are part of the unfolding of this planet. We cannot be separated from it. The issue is, it's the way we are relating with our planet totally destructive or not? When I realize that I come from the same source as this planet, and I have the responsibility to live with respect and a life-giving choice of how I use the resources it makes available for me, then everything changes. I begin to see the air I breathe, the water I drink, the food I eat, the clothes I wear, the car I drive, as part of this unfolding process, of which I am part, and in which I am in relationship. Yes, even the car I drive. Sit in the car and think for a moment, is there anything there that has not come from planet Earth? Glass, fabric, rubber, plastic, metal, benzene. What is there? Where else could it have come from? Planet Earth. Home, resources, an expression of the ultimate reality from which all has unfolded, including myself. And I am in relationship with planet Earth, positive, life-giving, or destructive. That is the choice. If in the next few weeks we could sit back and begin to look at all those resources I use every day, look at them again, realize they all come from planet Earth. And they've all come from the same source, the one that brought me into existence. And we may begin to realize our true relationship with the environment, and not one of control or ownership, but of living together in harmony. So that is the starting point for our next reflection.